Hey there guys and gals, here's another video on what you might want to do when ASA releases soon. We're coming up on just 3 weeks left in the month, and I know everyone's on edge about the release and everything, but in the meantime, we can be practicing. We can be working on, what we're going to do when it releases. In the last video, I showed how to get a 21 by 21 square in this spot. There are several places on the island you can do this, but the reason it's kind of important is because these are all foundations on the bottom. Every single square you see around this entire facility is a foundation. That way, in case they haven't fixed the bugs with dinos falling through floors when you reload, and if you got babies that have hatched and you're off hunting in the swamp, and you come back and reload your base and you find that your babies are either under your base or they're out on the ground walking around, where other people can claim them or they're getting eaten. It's just a bad day. So I've built this base here. There's my flexible water line that runs perfectly with the ground. And as you can see, a 21 by 21 square doesn't sound that big compared to some of the bases you've seen, in this same area that sprawl all the way and take up that entire beach and everything back there to the cliffs, and then everything all the way over here to the swamp. I have packed that much room in a base this size. And this does fall within, well, in this spot it does. Now, that's my disclaimer. In this spot, this building does not exceed the building limit because it actually sits on two different locations. I'm not sure if that helps it divide up. See, if you look, I'm in the Gulch of Lamentation and then the Eastern Forest. In the middle of my base, inside actually separates there as well. So I'm not sure if that helps, but I have not hit the limit. I know I am above the standard building limit as far as height goes, because this building is 50 stories tall. It's quite big. It's not the maximum height you can have, but it's up there. And why did I build it this big? So you don't have to take up half the map, and you can have the same amount of dinos in here breeding mutating, whatever you want, in this space as you would have taken up this entire area and half the swamp. There's just no need in taking up that much area when you can build up. There are bonuses to being able to building something like this. For one, there's no tech in here. All of this is all basic stuff on the island without defeating any bosses. You can build everything here. You don't need any tech, but when you do get tech, there's always room to grow. And here I've got, like for instance, here I have all these vaults, which eventually, once I beat the alpha dragon or the beta dragon, I will take these out, and this will be where my tech storage goes. That'll go here. And I've got a little water fountain over here, and my grill, and all this stuff. And up there is where I will keep all my blueprints. This is exactly what I plan to build in ASA. As I show you this will be enough for me to do everything throughout all of the expansions of it. Here's Bunch of beds, in case we're respawning, fighting different things. As you do, I've got grinders, all the basic equipment. And over here, as you've seen, is a hatchery. And this entire area, everything on that side of these railings can hatch eggs. Since we don't have the egg incubators, you're going to go back to some old school styles. And here's one of the coolest ones you can have, is that if you look, everything in here is incubating. And if you're a breeder like me, you're going to need a space at least this big. There is right now. I mean, you could double what's in here easily. You just stack them up. I've got them kind of spread out. There's about 80 eggs in here right now, close to it. But like I said, you could double it if you were doing like 160, 200 Rexes at once, looking for mutations. You could easily just drop 200 eggs in there and not worry about it. And then once you hatch your eggs, you're going to want a place for them to grow up. You grab your baby and you walk them out of there. And since we don't have cryopods, you just have them follow you up here. And this can be a growing area. You don't have to grow them completely. Just get them up to their 10% or higher. If you want, you can just leave them on this floor and grow them. You could actually put another floor there if you wanted to while they grow up. And then when they grow up, you put them on their respective breeding floor. That way all your dinos are out of range from aggroing anything. And here we'll go, let me show you, this is the electrical room. Down here. Down here's where I have the generator for the whole place. Some electrical outlets, and the secret to having an entire area for hatching. There's 120 of these refrigerators down here. Now, you don't have to build it this big if you're not an insane breeding mutator, but you can. And this is the way I suggest doing it. Separating it by a floor. Having all your wiring hidden. And what's cool is all the wiring and water lines in here that are above, I have inside of each other. If you notice, that is a water line inside of the electrical line that runs all the way up to the top. Right there. Runs all the way through the facility. And of course, since we don't have cryopods, if you don't want to do, ladders for every single floor, you're going to want to put yourself in an elevator. Yep, it will go down all the way to the bottom. It'll be nice and clean and out of the way until you get it to where you want to use it. See here, I just have a single Rex in here to show you the size comparison. You could probably put 60 female Rex, in tight lines in here, separated every two. That way you can bring the male in between lines here to breed them. So you could probably do 60 in this room. It's 8 floors, 8 ceilings, walls high. Excuse me, losing my mind. And here is another room, just like that one. For me, I'm going to be doing Rexes, so I'm going to want close to 200. Pretty much all my dinos will be Rexes. So for me, I'll be doing 3 of those rooms exactly the same. These will just be filled full of breeding female Rexes. And then if you want to do other dinos, there's a shorter floor. It's only 6 high. If you want to do like just doing it for the kibble and such, you can have a bunch of dinos up in here. and then there's another floor just for the same thing. Then up here at the top, we have our greenhouse on the roof, growing all the different vegetables. And I know some people are going to say, you could just stack those up on top of each other and everything. Well, we may not be able to do that in ASA. We don't know that yet. So I've built it the old-fashioned way, the way that actually looks, pretty. And so because we don't know if we're going to be able to stack them like they do in ASA. So I just have built this the most basic way with just a flat roof, nothing fancy. But you're going to need a lot of crops, especially if you're since ASA is just starting, everyone's going to be wanting kibble, and they're going to want to be trading everything for it. So the more crops you can grow to craft more kibble, and kibble is gold. And that's about it for this base. Oh yeah, and like I was saying about the water and electrical line, there they are right there. And they run through the floor. And they run right here. Nice and smooth, and then the water line separates to hit all the water spots. And then the electrical goes right over here. Then you can expand however you want. Now, one thing I thought about doing, I haven't done here, but what I will probably do is keep most of my flying dinos, like if I'm going to breed any of them, on this top floor, right directly under here, and put in, one of the giant hatches here. That way you can just open it up and fly out of the top of your base, or whatever you need to do. This can be a landing port here for your own private dinos, and you don't have to worry about anything attacking them. Now, this is a lot of metal. It's a lot of metal. There are let's see, 414 ceilings. About 400 ceilings for every floor. And then there's 414 foundations. 4,000 walls, I believe. Just a little over 4,000 walls. So it does hit the standard limit on building, but once you get so high that it changes. Like once you get above the dome, once you build so high up, those don't. You can continue building, is what I'm saying. Once it gets so high up, you can continue building without, the whatever your center point is. We go off here and watch it. We'll just go back down. And there it is. Goes down there and shuts off. Like the center point of my entire facility is right here. And I don't. It doesn't show the symbol like I'm even close, because most of the building is so spread out and above me that this doesn't hit the 6,000 or 6,300 building limit. Now, we don't know what the building limit's going to be in ASA, or if there even is going to be one, since bases will be instanced now. We may have more freedom for building in a smaller location, which is what we need. If we had the ability to build more in a tighter spot, there would be less need to build bigger, wider bases. I think, anyway. And what I was saying about this being a lot of metal, yes, it is. It would take a long time in ASA to gather all this. So what I would suggest is, yes, do the foundation and this first floor in metal, and do up to, what is it, 8 walls of of metal, up to 8 high, and and your big metal door there, and then everything else above built out of stone. Because above 8 high, I don't think a giga can hit anything higher than that. And those are the only two dinosaurs you have to worry about here are the Giga and the Alpha Rex. Of course, if someone, if you attack a Titanosaur outside your base, it's gonna annihilate it. So just don't attack a Titanosaur, and you won't have anything to worry about at all. Because I don't think a Giga or Alpha Rex can hit higher than 8. So anything higher than this, just build out of stone, and you'll be set. And a lot of people, they like building, having multiple generators and stuff like that, but you only need one. One can power everything. Yes, it's good to have backups sometimes. If have one that's set to auto turn on if your other one runs out of gas. But I mean, if you're offline for that long, your generator being out of gas is the least of your problems. The rest of your base is probably going to be decaying. So just keep your one filled up, have it protected in a nice little spot like this so dinos can't chew on it, and you won't have to worry about it. But yeah, this is a little design I come up with, and I think it's going to be great for ASA. It's going to help me really get going and breeding, and get started, because I'm going to do Rexes for sure. And I had thought about playing around with raptors as well. We don't have any of the other fancy raptor types or anything right now, and they're relatively fast, considering we won't be able to put any movement speed into anything. So I may play around with raptors and Rexes, and we'll see how it goes. So I think that'll be it for this video, guys. If y'all have any questions or want to know how, how I found the square for this to build a perfect 21 by 21 flat, just leave a suggestion in the comments, and I'll see y'all guys in the next one. All right.